What's up guys, Fish from Beyond back with the updated version of the Dual Strike of Ambidexterity guide. We definitely started out as a trickster this league, but we ended up as an assassin. The rework actually provided us a lot of benefit and a lot of easy power, a lot of crit chance. It's very nice. Right now on the screen with the 407 mil like combined DPS, including culling, this is us in full investment. This is my current character. And these are the numbers. We're at 315k EHP, 40k max hit. Not like insane, but our block chance is capped at 65. Spell block is also 65, but this is also under the consideration you have not blocked recently, but we have evade and block going for us. Honestly, feels rather tanky, doesn't feel bad at all. I've been farming Blight Empowered with this. And as always, these numbers are under a vacuum. Feel free to change the config as you see fit, because monsters are not always on low life. We have to have this ticked because of punishment. Bleeding, otherwise this is not considered right here, which is a lot of easy crit chance against bleeding enemies. It's how we get more crit chance. It makes the build feel a lot more consistent. Shocked, we usually apply it. 65 because of the mastery right here. Lightning Mastery, maximum effective shock. If you don't put it to 65, this node literally won't give you any damage number readings because the game assumes you only have 50 maximum effective shock. Exposed to lightning because of our gloves. Intimidate because of my claw. But this is high investment. I don't expect you to have Intimidate since we lost mercenaries who can apply Intimidate. But feel free to adjust things as you see fit, like turning off tinctures, which is totally fine, but tincture has a lot of niceties because this is something we use when we are fighting big boys. So don't worry, I have updated the budget version of the guide. So there wasn't really any changes in terms of the equipment. All that really changed is the tree, where we have dropped that section, this area where you can get charisma, and we fully drop Light of Meaning, and we put our Lethal Pride in this area. There are multiple good numbers here. Feel free to choose what you see fit. Use the Timeless Jewel calculator. I will put a timestamp at the description section of this video for you to choose which Timeless Jewel you want. There are cool things you can get there. Rage on hit, fire res, melee crit chance, melee crit multi, double damage, things of that nature. It is pick your poison, see what you like. And this is 81 mil, same thing in a vacuum with no tattoos whatsoever, with very pretty much okay gear. Like this is like in the previous, this I haven't updated any of the items aside from putting in Grafts. So the previous video still is relevant in terms of if you want to go more in depth of the things that I have talked about previously, but we are just going to skim through this. So mana issues. Now that we are an assassin, there is some certain things that you want to know of. Like, since we do not have this node, Polymath, where we can recover energy shield and mana on kill, it is Soul Siphon is very nice for like solving mana issues, hence why I added that into the notes. I have updated these notes, so do look at them. Some of the trade links are not updated. In that case, do pull it up. Make sure at the top right, change it from inter or person in trade only to like instant buyout. But the important things I have listed in here. So like if we scroll down, and one thing to note with the shock avoid, like boots implicits, since we do not have the mastery anymore of one step ahead, well, it's not above 100%, having action speed on the boots is actually a buff. It is real now. Only problem is if you put it on the boots, that means you are contesting for shock avoid, so it makes gearing a little harder. Just a thing to note. I did put it on my high-end version, but you don't have to. You can just keep it as shock avoid and elemental avoid to save your sanity. I have Reorganize the amulets. Since we're going into Assassin, we already have a built-in crit, which I did describe here. Ashes of Stars is usually what I would recommend here, or a Whispers of Infinity, which is honestly really, really nice. Between the two, I would probably lean toward Whispers of Infinity, unless you just want the DPS Ashes of Stars, absolutely. But Whispers of Infinity, it's a huge quality of life. I cannot understate this. In terms of amulets, same thing. The big boy is a +2/+2 with crit multi. Bigger boy is the reflected version of that. Alternatively, you can get different amulets. There are amulets. If you use the trade for these items, there are some certain amulets you can get for relatively cheap. So it looks like people are reflecting this type of amulet, which is a life, global crit multi, and increased damage with leeching. We don't care about the life, but the crit multi and leeching is very nice. I personally bought this for like 20 divines. There are similar amulets like this in the 10 to 20 divine range. If we go trade for these items, look at the amulet. Let's put a buyout of max price of a divine orb, let's say 20, and execute. I don't know if they're still around in this market at this day and time, but hey, wait, look at that, 15 divine right there. It is a slight DPS loss compared to mine, but still 15 divine, rather big upgrade for like compared to, let's say, a Ashes of the Star. So if you look at Ashes of the Star, you can see the difference is 23.6% compared to my amulet. So roughly like 14%, 15% compared for that 15 div amulet. It's a rather big upgrade from a step up from Ashes of the Star. Something to consider. And if we keep going down a little lower, I have talked about since Dual Strike of Ambidexterity will work on a Trickster or Assassin. It really depends on what you want to choose. They have their pros and cons, obviously. Personally, I find Assassin better, but here you go. For Assassin, we really have to grab Soul Drinker. We don't really have a choice because we need that overleech, kind of like the Slayer. For the Trickster though, if you are playing a Trickster base, you can go Knife in the Back for the Juggler for damage and culling. Alternatively, Dodger's Gluttony also works here, hence why it's here in the Megalomaniac section. There's Born in the Shadows, like always. Mistwalker, I would recommend the crit immunity is very nice to have. Even though it doesn't say it's a lot of EHP, realistically it is, especially on 1000 crit maps. And then for the Ascendancy, if we go to Assassin Ascendancy, and let's talk about this. The assassination style is pick your poison. I find Knife in the Back is a lot more important because we're trying to make the person go into low life, which I did mention in the notes. Because the first hit, higher crit, enemy gets low life faster, or our curses to like actually turn on. Like punishment is disgusting. Opportunistic, and where things change and where you have options is whether you go opportunistic or Deathmarked. So opportunistic, very nice because I'm doing Blight Empowered. Alternatively, you can go Deathmark, which then you can drop Mark on hit and Assassin's Mark, and the marked monsters cannot evade. It is actually rather nice. I was initially running Deathmarked. Important caveat with Deathmarked: if you have it in your POB, the accuracy will not be read correctly because it is under the assumption that your character is hitting something that cannot evade. So for a brief period in time, I had that marked on. My POB said I had a hit chance of 100% until I realized I was wondering why every now and then my attacks felt like it was missing. It's because my hit chance was not 100%. So that was a mistake on my part. I did not have enough accuracy, but you live, you learn. Now let's get a little bit lower. So I would definitely skip Suppress at this point since it was nerfed. And Block just feels better. Map mods, self-explanatory. The Ringcraft, also there. And now for the Grafts for this league specifically. It is really grab anything that looks cool. So cool things that we can now get on the Graph. There is now Endurance Charge on hit. There is non-Val Strike skill +1. increased attack and cast speed, increased attack damage. There's even increased crit chance or crit multi. Any buff is good. So jolting is what I personally use. And there are also cool corrupted implicits you can get. So this is what I personally use. I use an Aegis with Val Strike and increased attack speed per frenzy charge. And for my jolting, I go for increased attack and cast speed with obviously high roll crit chance and a level 34 overcharge sinew. So this does not get computed, but there is a breakpoint. A +1 to 3 does not give you do not hit the breakpoint for the overcharge sinew. Once it hits level 34, which I'll show you here. Once it hits level 34, that jolt grants 3% more maximum attack damage. If it's not level 34, that jolt only grants 2% more maximum attack damage. Slightly min-max, just important thing to note. But it really, I don't think this will be around for next league. So this is just this league thing to note. But anyway, and that's pretty much it. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to comment or DM me on Discord. We may or may not be streaming. The league, I don't know really how to feel about this league. Asynchronous trading is amazing. The breach mechanic, on the other hand, it's all right. It's nothing crazy compared to Mercenary League. So that's pretty much it. Good luck on the grind, boys, and you guys have a good day or good night. Peace out.